It's Sunday, February 14th, 2021. This is All About Your Benjamins and your weekly mixtape. First off, happy Valentine's Day if you are celebrating Valentine's Day. We've decided we celebrate Valentine's Day with Ange and the boys, but Ange and I celebrate Valentine's Day randomly throughout the year rather than doing it on the actual holiday. Something I started a long time ago and actually kind of like. So if you're celebrating Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day to you. Now let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolio. And just a few of them as you're going to see on the mixtape. We'll start off with maybe I don't know if it's the biggest news, but kind of some closure. The impeachment trial for former President Trump. The Senate voted to acquit him of the charges of inciting the insurrection back at the Capitol, back in January. So I'm honestly not surprised, and this is not meant to be a political commentary, but since it's past that time, the election's over, really what's the incentive for Congress to push things through and kind of pursue this further and actually do anything? In some ways, I don't like to see potentially people getting away with doing something that they shouldn't have. And I don't know, really if he should be guilty or not, or should be impeached. But in other ways, I feel like that's in the past. It's not going to change anything. So maybe we just don't bring it back up and bring up all of those emotions and just kind of move forward. So I don't know what the right answer is. I see both sides of that argument. Me being less of a confrontational person kind of likes the idea that let's just get past it. It's done in the past. Everything has moved forward. Go after the people that need to be arrested and persecuted for storming the Capitol. But then do we want to relive that and bring that back up and maybe even evoke those emotions again? And who knows? So I don't know. The only frustrating thing to me is as I looked at some of the commentary, and I did not follow the impeachment trial very much. And honestly, the day of the storming of the Capitol, I didn't even really watch a lot of what was going on. I mean, I saw what was going on, but I didn't timeline when President Trump said anything, when anything was said from anywhere about stopping and going back. And so I don't know all of the details, but as I read the report of some of the arguments and the fact that they're stating that President Trump did not specifically say, storm the Capitol. True, I don't think he ever said that, but I also think they're beating around the bush that there are ways to develop messages and encourage things or not stop things. You're just blatantly saying, stop, don't do this, it's not what I'm about. There's things that could have been done and could have been said, or there were things that were insinuated or said subconsciously almost that could be considered encouraging that type of behavior. But since he did not say those specific words, they're getting around kind of not looking at the total body of work. And again, I don't know what the true verdict should have been, but I do think there were comments made, things not said, that could lead me to think maybe there was a little bit of more encouragement from the White House than what was being reported in the impeachment trial. So again, not to be political, that's just my thought. The way I look at things is, if there's something going on that I don't like, I'm just going to implicitly say that that's not what I'm about, that's not what I like, to stop it. And I don't feel like that was said or done quick enough, and there's not enough being put behind that. It's just focusing on whether or not specific instructions were given, which no one's ever going to do that in that situation. So anyways, the impeachment was acquitted, so we move forward. And again, I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing from a moving forward, healing as a country, and getting more onto the positive side of moving forward with some good news coming out with COVID numbers going down and all these other things that are going that are moving us in the right direction. So speaking of COVID numbers coming down and moving in the right direction, it looks like we may be past the worst of the winter layoffs, I guess we could call it that. Unemployment numbers were better than expected. There's still 793,000 people who filed for unemployment. I believe that was the number. It was lower than the 900,000 that was expected. So that's a move in the right direction. I almost feel like we have one more blip in unemployment. I don't know what will cause it, but I just feel like there's always one more test. Right when you think that you get to the end of something that's been a struggle, there's always one more kind of test. Like in Indiana, this is a totally random example, but I just always remember in March, there was always one more snowstorm than you thought. We'd have a big snowstorm and you think you're going to get ready to go to spring, and there'd be always one more random one that would pop up late in March, early in April, and then you got past it. It's almost like you knew that that random one that popped up, that was really the final one. The one that made sense to be the final one, the one in early March, that's never the final one. So I just feel like there might be one more blip in the unemployment numbers before we actually start to see things really take momentum and move forward into the spring. But we'll take it right now, and hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we are on the trend in the right direction. A random one to bring up is just the price of oil is going back up. And I don't know if you remember this, but last year we actually saw the price of oil dip negative on the futures market for a period of time. So to see oil come back and be up where it is today is a pretty impressive move. It's wild to think that at one point you were being paid to take delivery of oil because there was so much supply. So you're going to start to see the oil, gas prices tick back up. You're seeing that already. Not a lot behind it, nothing really to play on that, but I just thought it was interesting that oil has seemed to recover kind of quietly. So we'll see what that does going into spring and summer as people hopefully get to go back out, travel some more, drive some more. I would imagine that maybe supply levels will come down, which will drive the price up even more, which might be a good thing for the next company that we're going to talk about, Tesla. We're not going to talk about Tesla in the cars, but electric car, oil prices going up. You're seeing more and more cars coming out to be electric. At the Super Bowl, you saw GM's awesome commercial with Will Ferrell and their electric lineup coming up. So we're going to see more electric car vehicles coming out. But the reason I bring up Tesla is Tesla announced that they bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin on the business balance sheet. So for people who really believe in Bitcoin, they expect to see companies take some of their cash reserves, put it into Bitcoin as an inflation hedge, as a currency hedge if the dollar were to get weakened. And this was the first company that's had a major stake. There's been some insurance companies that have purchased some, but not to the level of $1.5 billion. So a pretty substantial amount. Not surprising with Elon Musk. What does that mean for us? Who knows? But I do think that brings even more credibility to the fact that cryptocurrencies at some point, and it looks like Bitcoin being the dominant one, are here to stay. More and more companies are doing things like this. You're seeing more companies accept Bitcoin. Tesla said they may accept Bitcoin to purchase cars, although we look at the people in the past who bought pizza with Bitcoin and they would be millionaires by now. I don't know how many people are willing to actually take their Bitcoin that they have and buy things with it. I think most of the Bitcoin investors are holding it with the expectations that prices are going to keep on going up. And we got pretty daggone close to 50,000 per Bitcoin this week. I don't think we got past it, but I think 49,000 was what it was at one point. So still going to be a very volatile asset class. It's still one that I do believe will be a part of portfolios, more portfolios in the future. And there are companies out there, one of which I know very well, OnRamp, which is going to be helping financial advisors bring Bitcoin to their clients' portfolios and actually be able to help on it more than we are now once the legislature and the compliance requirements catch up to the technology. So anyways, Tesla buys a bunch of Bitcoin. What does that mean for you? Just keep on paying attention to that story. And maybe if you're a doubter of it, maybe give a little bit more credibility to it that it is probably going to be here for the long run, or it's going to just be a huge mess and a lot of people are going to look silly. It's going to be one of those two ways. Final one, just a highlight of the change coming out of the COVID world. Salesforce announced, and I bring them up, they have a big office in downtown Indianapolis, but Salesforce announced that they're going to have a lot more of their workforce working remotely post pandemic. So they're going to be reducing their footprint when it comes to real estate, even including in San Francisco where they're headquartered, and having more people work remotely. I was a little skeptical. I thought that once things got passed, companies would bring their people back in, and that could still happen. But it looks like a lot of bigger organizations are going to be taking advantage of us working from home and reducing their expenses in the form of real estate. One of the downsides I see to more people working from home is just that barrier between work and home getting blurred. I experience that as a business owner, but more and more people who are working traditional jobs, W-2, that are supposed to be, hourly or whatever it might be, are probably going to be asked to do more from home, maybe work more, or it's harder to turn that off. There's something else you can do, and why not do it while you're relaxing on the couch? So I don't necessarily think that's going to be the best thing for our work-life balance and family lives if there's a blurred line between work and home because we're doing it from home. So That's the only thing I would caution to employers out there, is to come up with policies to make sure your employees are not being overworked and not doing too much at home since they're going to be there. All right, that's it. So if you're watching this on YouTube, link in the comments to All About Your Benjamins. Check out the mixtape below. If you're watching this on allaboutyourbenjamins.com, go down and read the mixtape. I always want to thank you for tuning in. Check out this week's latest episode of The Pursuit. It's in the mixtape as well, where I talk about how sometimes saying no is actually the best thing for you to do, because it allows you to say yes to the things that really matter the most. And I am a bit of a hypocrite, but I am getting better. I have a hard time saying no to a lot of things, but I am getting better about it, and it has actually made my life better, made me more productive, and is moving me quicker in the direction that I want to go. So learn from me, do as I say, not as I have done or I do sometimes, and you'll get there a lot quicker as well. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next episode.